Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be covering several tips for Western Europe, and this is basically all the countries that I didn't cover in my previous Europe videos. Starting off with one of the easiest countries, and more specifically cities, we have Vienna, Austria. And in Vienna, you're going to have these signs pretty much everywhere. This number is basically the name of the district in Vienna, and that's basically how the city is separated into. And these are exclusively found in Vienna, Austria. Also in Austria, you're gonna have these reflectors that kind of resemble the Austrian flag on signs. See it here, see it over there, and these are on pretty much all the signs. It's just like these two red strips with a white strip in the middle. These are found in Austria. As well in Austria, you're gonna get these bollards with this black top on it. These are also found in Slovenia and a couple other countries, but in Austria, you're going to have like this little tip at the top. Also in Austria, you're mostly going to have Gen 4 coverage, which is what we have right here. Moving on to another German-speaking country, we have Germany, of course. Germany's pretty easy. I don't have too many tips lined up for it, but the most obvious one is going to be the blurred houses and apartments. You're going to have entire buildings completely blurred out in Germany, and you're not going to really have this anywhere else, especially in Europe. Also in Germany, you're going to have Gen 2 coverage like this with the halo and the wide blur on the car. And in Germany, you're only going to have coverage on the major cities within the country. You're not going to have any countryside coverage. So if you see this Gen 2 coverage in an urban area with German, it's probably going to be in Germany in one of the major cities like Berlin or Hamburg. Next we have Switzerland. Switzerland is really easy. You're going to have this wide blur on the bottom. It's called low cam, and it looks like the Gen 2 blur, but it's not Gen 2, obviously. If we look up, we don't have a halo. And the license plates are going to be pretty small with no blue on them. The only other country with low cam is going to be Japan, and obviously just by looking at this architecture, you can tell that it's not Japan. In Italy, you're going to have these road signs that say Via on them, as well as a lot of the signs in Italy having lowercase letters on them. But the easiest part about Italy is definitely the license plates, which are pretty unique. They're pretty small, and you're going to have two blue strips on either side. Sometimes you'll have a bit longer license plates, but that's not super common. It's mostly going to be these smaller license plates with two strips on the side. Right here we have another country that's actually within Italy itself. This is San Marino. San Marino is pretty rare. I've actually never gotten it before, but you're gonna have these license plates without any blue on them, and they're pretty small. They kind of look like NA license plates, but if we look around us, it doesn't really look like North America, obviously. Moving on, we have the Netherlands. The Netherlands is a really easy country to get. The license plates are the easiest part. We have yellow front plates as well as yellow back plates. The only country that you're gonna have this in is going to be the Netherlands as well as Luxembourg. And we also have these bikes here because bikes are everywhere in the Netherlands. One more tip for the Netherlands is it's very flat. There's almost no hills anywhere. If we look out, it's pretty much completely flat, which is how you're going to tell it apart from Luxembourg. If you're new to the game, this can be a trickier country, but this is Belgium. The reason I say it's kind of a trickier country is because there's two languages spoken in Belgium, and both of these languages are going to be on the signs. So we're in northern Belgium right now where we have Dutch, but obviously if we look at the license plates, we do not have Dutch license plates. We have Belgian license plates, which actually have a bit of a red tint to them. This is a really good example of Dutch license plates. The text on them is actually red, so the blur is going to come up with a slight red tint. And here we have the other language spoken in Belgium. We have French. French and Dutch are pretty easy to tell apart because they're very different languages, but we also have Belgian license plates. This is going to be your best way of knowing that you are actually in Belgium. One more tip for Belgium is these bollards. You have similar ones in Denmark, but they're a bit more pointed and have more stuff going on them. To finish off this region of Western Europe, we have Luxembourg. In Luxembourg, you're going to have yellow front plates as well as yellow back plates. And if you're in a more rural area, but you can still see that you have both license plates are yellow and can't really decide if you're in the Netherlands or Luxembourg, the best way to tell is just the landscape. Obviously, like I showed you in the Netherlands, it's a very flat country. In Luxembourg, it's pretty hilly, and there's going to be a lot more forests as well. Moving on to France. In France, you're going to have these road signs that say rue on them. This is just French for like road or street. You're also going to have these bollards. These are exclusive to France, and you can sometimes find them in Scotland as well, but they're definitely very common in France. It's just this thick wood pole with this red wrapped all the way around it. Finally, we have French poles. France mostly has ladder poles, which are these type of poles, and you're sometimes going to get these metal brackets or rings around them. Not all the time, but it's pretty common. Sometimes you're also getting a blue sticker on the pole, and France is the only country that really does that. Moving on, we actually have another country within France, just like San Marino in Italy, but this is Monaco. Monaco is pretty easy. Yachts and lots of docks. You're also going to see the Monaco flag everywhere, which looks a lot like the Indonesian flag, but obviously this is very different from Indonesia. Next, we have the United Kingdom. The best way to tell you're in the UK, if you don't have a sign, is the license plates on the cars. In the front, it's just going to be white, and in the back, it's going to be yellow. The UK is the only country in the world that has plates like this, so if you see something like this, it's definitely going to be the United Kingdom. Scotland is a more distinct part of the UK. Unlike the rest of the UK, it's very hilly, in some parts even mountainous and very rocky. But again, if we have the yellow license plates with the front plates, then it's going to be the UK, but with these hills, we can tell we're definitely in Scotland. Now we have a harder location, which technically is also in the UK. This is the Isle of Man, and the easiest way to tell the Isle of Man apart from anywhere else in the UK is the license plates. Obviously, you're going to have these yellow back plates, but on the front, you're going to have this white plate, but instead of blue, you're going to have red. And sometimes you'll also have red on the yellow part as well. Moving on to Ireland. Ireland's pretty easy. It looks a lot like the United Kingdom, but you're going to have these yellow dashed road lines on the side, as well as the license plates. Here we can see there is white back plate and a white front plate on the cars, and we have some English signs all around us as well. That's definitely going to be Ireland. Next we have Andorra. Andorra can kind of be a tricky country at first, but it's kind of like San Marino. The license plates are pretty distinct. They're these shorter license plates that look more like the license plates you'd see in North America, and it's going to be very mountainous. Here we have Spain. Spain is pretty easy, I think. Sometimes you can get confused with Greece if you don't have signs around, but it's a very arid, dry climate for the most part. And if you're in a more rural area in Spain, look for these guardrails. They'll often have these yellow reflectors on them. This is pretty much exclusive to Spain, I believe. So if you find these guardrails, yellow on, and this very dry, kind of deserty climate, then it's going to be Spain. Finally, we have Portugal. Portugal's pretty easy. One of the best ways to tell Portugal apart from Spain is going to be the poles. Spain also uses ladder poles, just like France, and so does Portugal, but Portugal often has these holes inside of the ladder poles, as well as the license plates, which is the easiest way to tell Portugal apart from the rest of Europe. The Portuguese license plates are pretty unique. On one side you're going to have the European blue strip, and on the other you're going to have this yellow strip. And don't get this confused with Ukraine. Ukraine has the blue and yellow on one side and they're stacked up. As you can see here, Portugal has blue on one side, yellow on the other. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and learned something from it. If you did, please leave a like, and as usual, I'm going to be leaving this map in the description. If you want to see more content like this in the future, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.